Welcome back to this walkthrough of Reel Fishing. You've noticed the book is now full and we have some different music for the Aqua Room. That's because the file I'm using for this one has already been all the way through the regular game, through the credit sequence, and is on to the final segment. But we're going to go back to the lake and show you how to play the lake. The lake has two species in it, the bluegill and the bass. We're going to show you how to catch both in general if you're after that species. We're going to start with the popper. The popper is we're working fast here. The popper is a surface lure that is smaller. So it's mostly going to target bluegill, although you can get both species on all of these lures that I have tried. Although the larger lures, generally you're going to get bass. The smaller lures, generally you're going to get the bluegills here. The first time you're playing through this game, after you clear the pond stage with the carp, you're looking to catch a black bass or a largemouth bass, larger than 15 inches right here for the next bubble. That will unlock the next stage of the cutthroat trout level, the beaver dam. But before you can go to the 100 fish, you need to, then after you catch a cutthroat trout, you have to catch 5 cutthroat trout larger than 9.8, which we'll talk about next time. You have to come back here and catch a bluegill larger than 9.1. And I'm making a guess that the game does not let you hook or even see fish of appropriate sizes for some of these until you have the requisite balls on your license. That is just an intuitive guess. That's not something that I've proven by looking at the code of this game. So the achievements go: catch 10 trout at stage 1, catch a char larger than 9.8 at stage 2, catch 20 bitterling at stage 3, a carp larger than 11.8 at stage 4, the largemouth larger than 15. Here is a nice bluegill at 14.3. This actually is as big a bluegill as we need for either of these goals that I have. We're technically on the achievement which you have to, the manual says catch the largest fish in each level. And that is something curious in a GameFAQs report that I can link down here in this video. The player of that GameFAQs, or the author of that GameFAQs, has said that in normal play they weren't able to hit that achievement on any species. Apparently you're supposed to catch some theoretical largest possible fish limit that in that level, but they were not able to in normal play catch those fish. But using a Game Shark, they were able to hack a fish size in large enough that they could catch and unlock those achievements. And I can link that GameFAQs below because that has a good resource in this one. So in the first time through, you'll catch a bass larger than 15.0, and then a bluegill larger than 9.1 after the cutthroat trout. And then when you catch and release 100 fish, then you can start finishing your license. You finish your license and you can start the next round. We did catch a bluegill there on the spinner. So the spinner is an underwater lure for this one. That's a smaller size. So that's generally going to go after bluegills. Now we're going to go after some of the black bass, those largemouth bass. So we're going to the spinner bait. And the spinnerbait's going to target the largemouth bass, and sure enough, on the first try, there it is. All of these underwater lures, these fish will grab and tilt their body back. There's not an extra visual tell that you're looking for, really. It's just timing it so that they've grabbed it, lean their body back, you hit that X button, and off you go. Fighting bluegills and bass, again, is the same as fighting any fish in this game. They don't do anything different. Some games have certain species behaving differently on the hook. This one just has different species doing more of the same kinds of behaviors more often. So bass will do more thrashes like this. They'll do more runs. They can be a little trickier than the old trout on level 1. So while we're bringing this bass in, the weather conditions on this level seems to be on the heels of a thunderstorm. Either the wake of a thunderstorm or a thunderstorm is incoming. I'm guessing the designers, they just wanted to have a different weather environment there. I don't believe weather changes in this game or has any impact on things. In real life, of course, weather has a great deal of impact on fish biting. Storms can really change the way fish behave, where fish go, how they feed. So I think I appreciate the designers of this game putting it in, even if it's just an aesthetic choice. In like, there's a storm front coming in, maybe there's a cold front passing by, and if you're fishing you need to take those kinds of things into account when you are making your fishing plan for locations and baits and presentation. In this game, I really think it's just they wanted that level to look like you were about to have a thunderstorm on a lake, which everybody, if you're on a boat in a lake and there is lightning and thunder nearby, I'd get out of there. 21.5 is a really nice size for bass. To unlock the second set of balls, you need a bass that is 23.6, which I have had in this file, because to unlock the last stage, you need to complete your second license, which is going back and catching those big fish to beat the default records at each stage. And so this is a frog. That's a surface lure, so that one behaves just like the dry flies in the first level. So you've seen now a bluegill hooked on a surface lure, a bluegill hooked on an underwater lure, bass on underwater spinnerbait, and then now this is a bass on the frog. So we've seen every way to hook these fish here. The challenge in this level is mainly just getting fish of the size that you need. When you have some of those bigger fish sizes, they can be rather tricky to catch. They can run more. They could get to the end of the stage and run your line out. I've talked about before that this game seems to track where on the overworld screen, I want to say for lack of a better term, the boat screen. The game seems to track where the fish goes on that. It doesn't tell you in this underwater sequence where the fish is, but the game seems to track where it is. And if the fish reaches beyond where you can reach with your line, if it gets to a location that you can't cast to, then the fish will just get off the hook. And then your line will come back to you from the point that the fish escaped from. You see that happening a lot in the cutthroat trout stage. The cutthroat trout stage of that beaver dam will do that a lot. This bass actually got to the boat. You can see when it comes straight up like that. That's when the bass gets to the boat. So again, the first time through, you're looking for a bass bigger than 15. This fish would have done it the first time through your license, and a bluegill larger than 9.1 after you've gone and unlocked that cutthroat trout level. This would be a great time for me to tell you about the Reel Fishing Relaxation series I made, where you can just look at this level and all the levels from the Reel Fishing game for 15 minutes, just watching the music and the little animated JPEG that they have here. So if you want to check that out, do. If you want to check out the other levels of this walkthrough, there's also a link to that walkthrough in the description below here. And if you have anything you'd like to see about this game or anything that wasn't clear, please feel free to let me know on Twitter or leave a comment below. I'll help you out if I know the answer. I will link that game facts that I talked about here in the description here that has a lot more of the technical details, although it's not quite as detailed as some that have gotten into the ROM and checked it out. So we will see you next time at the Beaver Dam for some cutthroat trout.